Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, before we get started, I have my phone with me today. Should we do a guess at what time it is? Okay, I'll give you guys a hint. It is earlier than I usually vlog, and it's warmer than it usually is. So there's a hint on the time, and there's a hint on the weather. Are you guys ready? You have your guesses in? Are they locked in place? Okay, it is currently, let's see what time it is. It is currently 2:22 p.m. and the weather is, let's see what the temperature is outside. One of the reasons why I am vlogging early is because Alex is on his way home. He's like already like in Indianapolis. He's like 20 minutes away. And then on the way home, they're stopping at somebody's sprinkle that is happening today. A baby sprinkle. Do you guys know what a baby sprinkle is? I just learned this like 2 years ago. So when you are having your first baby, that's a shower. But when you're having your second, third, fourth, or ninth baby, that's called a sprinkle. Because it's not as, big. You just sprinkle like light gifts and things like that. So it's not as big as a shower. So it's called a sprinkle. So he's stopping by there on the way home. And what is going on here? What is this? Welcome back. Same trusted forecast. What is going on here? I don't understand what that is. It's like a new weather channel. It says let's go. No, I don't want to do all that. I just want to see what the weather is. Okay, what is all... I don't understand. It's like making you do all this... Okay, so apparently the Weather Channel is all new. Did you guys know this? Create an account to make your app your own. Maybe later. Now get out there and be a force of nature, it says. I just want to see what the weather is for today. I guess I could have gone into my other thing. Oh, the whole Weather Channel thing looks all new. Okay. Well, it's 79 and cloudy. It tells you now, it says at the top. It's 79 and cloudy. Day 79, night 66. It has how it's gonna by the hours on here. Oh, this is today. And then this week, okay, so tomorrow it's supposed to be 84. I thought it was supposed to be like 83 today, but tomorrow it's supposed to be 84. Then Monday and Tuesday 75, Wednesday 80, Thursday 81, then Friday and Saturday 71, Sunday 73, 70, 69, 69. Okay, so it goes up. Somebody said to me, actually, I don't know when Mother's Day is. Somebody commented on my vlog. I was talking about when to put Fernalicious out and the plants, and they said that their mother or grandmother always told them to do it on Mother's Day, so that was like a thing that they had always done growing up. And I remember my Aunt Kathy saying that she always did all her plants on Mother's Day. What day is Mother's Day this year? Sunday, May 12th. Why do I feel like that's late for Mother's Day? Isn't Mother's Day usually like the first Sunday in May? I have no idea. I might be wrong about that. I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, we always do something for Alex's mom's mom. We always do something for Alex's mom for Mother's Day, but, I mean, he is in complete charge of that. So it's been a long time since I have had to plan anything for Mother's Day. Obviously, because my mom's been gone since 2008. How are you guys doing today? I am struggling a little bit today. I went to bed very, very late last night, which I knew I would. And I actually did not take a nap because I was talking on the phone so much last night that I kind of like talked through my nap. And then I like started, so I wasn't sure what I wanted to watch last night. I was kind of in the mood to watch true crime. And then I also wanted to finish season 7 of The Walking Dead. And then I also wanted to watch one of the movies for Peter's Movie Club. So if you don't know what you don't know is a lot, over on my Peter Does Stuff channel, I know I've mentioned this like 1,000 times. I'm trying to get it real hyped up. I am hosting a movie club. It's like the book club, but we just watch a movie or two, because this week is a double feature, together every week. And they're movies that somehow kind of like in my past, either growing up or in my past, had some kind of like affected me in some kind of positive way, right? And so this week's movies it's a double feature. And the reason why it's a double feature is because I have like 5 or 6 movies that are leaving soon, because we're watching them all off of Tubi, which is a free streaming app. And so there's like 5 or 6 movies that are leaving soon. Actually, there's only 4 days left to watch the movies that I picked for this week. I looked last night. So the 2 movies that I picked, well, you can watch them other places too. I think they're on Peacock and Amazon and stuff like that. But the 2 movies that I picked for this week are, and I explain like the backstory to them and stuff like that. But Joyride, the horror movie with Paul Walker, Steve Zahn, who I love so much, and I was like looking him up last night and reading his Wikipedia page and stuff like that, and I totally forgotten about her. Is it Lily? Or I think it's Lele Sobieski. I'm mispronouncing her last name. But anyway, so it's that horror movie, and then Jackie Brown with Pam Grier. And I love that movie, Jackie Brown, so much, or I did back in the day. I haven't seen it in like 20-some years. But I picked those 2 movies, and so last night I was like, well, I kind of want to watch a horror movie a little bit. And so by the time that I got done I talked to Mel, I talked to Nikki briefly, talked to Tanya Jean. Who else did I talk to? Oh, I talked to like 2 of my other friends in recovery, and was checking in with Alex and stuff like that. So by the time that I got done with all that, it was like 1:15 in the morning. And so, before all that, before all the phone calls, I like took a long hot shower and did like all this like facial routines and stuff like that, like face masks and all that kind of stuff, and lotion to my face, and put on fresh clean pajamas, and got all cozy and lit a bunch of candles and stuff like that. Had me a little spa night last night for bachelor night with Boo Radley, which bachelor night for Boo Radley meant that he slept the majority of the night. I took him out a couple times last night, but he slept the majority of it. He was really, really tired. Today, I was kind of surprised. I thought he'd get up really, really early, but he, like, you know, let me sleep in a little bit, gave him his medicine, then he went back to bed, and then took him out, and it's so nice today. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's a little cloudy, but the sun comes and goes, and he was just loving, sniffing the grass, and all kind of stuff. So anyway, I came downstairs, and what did I watch? I feel like I should put some chapstick on. Hold on a second. Oh, Alex just texted me back because I said okay. Because he said he's going to stop by the sprinkle. Okay, what else did I watch? Weekly TV. Well, I can change my Walking Dead because I'm to the last episode of season 7. I'm like a third of the way through it. Did I watch something else last night? I did not. So I watched Joyride last night, which was really good. It's interesting watching these movies that had like some huge impact on me, like in my youth. And I actually, when I looked it up, that was the year that my ex and I got together. And so I don't know why, but like we used to go to a lot of movies together when we first started dating. And my boyfriend before that, he and I we went to movies all the time. And especially like really like scary movies. Like that whole like generation of like when new horror movies started coming out, like the Screams, Urban Legend, Disturbing Behavior, when they turned those Lois Duncan books into movies, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, those movies. We would go and see those movies, and I can remember, like we would go on a Sunday night when it was like dead, and I can remember going in the winter time, and we would go in at like, you know, 10 o'clock, 10:15 to watch a movie, and then we would come out, and it would be like 3 inches of snow. It had like snowed, and I can just remember thinking how cozy that was. And then we would actually go home and like watch another horror movie, and my ex and I would do that too. Like every person I've ever dated loves horror movies, and Alex does too, but like his taste in horror movies has kind of changed a little bit through the years. He's definitely more now, like he likes the paranormal, he loves those, the Nun movies, he loves those so much, and like The Conjuring, he loves that kind of stuff, which is interesting because when we went to Las Vegas for Jason's birthday, Melissa, myself, Aaron, and Eric, we went to the Zach Bagans Museum, and Alex had no interest in it whatsoever, which pretty much the whole Zach Bagans Museum, the parts that are like real paranormal-ish, which is supposed to be the whole thing, but it's not really that. But anyway, it's kind of dedicated, well, there's a whole like serial killer room and all that kind of stuff, but it's like dedicated to like paranormal stuff, kind of like The Conjuring. And so I was kind of surprised he didn't want to go to that, but he's also kind of feels weird, like, messing with it. Like, he likes to watch the movies, but he wouldn't like... So anyway, he likes those kind of things. He used to love, like, the horror movies. He doesn't really like those as much anymore. I like to watch anything. But anyway, it's interesting watching these movies that kind of, like, had some impact on me. I just remember watching Joyride back in the day. I feel like I watched it a couple times, and, you know, it's the one where it's like they're on the CB. I think part of it for me is because when we were in high school, we used to do this thing called CB tag. Do you guys remember that? If you're like from the late 80s, mid to late 80s, because I think we did it because, so my friend, I'll never forget, she had one of those, was it a Cadillac Riviera? Those Cadillacs that had like the you know, that went down like that in the back. I feel like my face is so struggling today. I feel like I haven't had enough coffee, or I don't know. Like, I wash my face, I brush my teeth. I feel like my face is so struggling today. The allergies are so strong, and this is just like a realism as you get older. It's so interesting because, you know, I haven't had a drink in 29 years, and this week, the last couple days, I've been drinking a lot of water, and so it's not like, you know, like and I haven't been, like, eating that horrible and stuff like that, and I've been drinking a lot of water, so I'm pretty hydrated. But the older you get, like, I've talked to several of my friends that are sober, and they say the same thing, so I do think it's kind of a common thing, not for everybody, but some people. When you wake up at first, like, you truly do feel hungover. Like, your eyes are, like, crusty, and, I mean, like, this is not... I used to wake up in my youth and be like, let's go, I feel beautiful today. I do not feel like that anymore. Like, it takes a good hour, and, you know, to, like, get it going, and drink a cup of coffee. I mean, like, on a casual day, you know, to drink a cup of coffee. And I stayed up late last night, but I have to tell you, like, I didn't stay up as late as I thought I would. I thought I'd push it to, like, 7:30 or something like that. I think I was in bed by, like, 5 o'clock or something. No, like, 5:15 or something like that last night, because I took Boo Radley out right before we went to bed and got him settled. But no, true story, like, that's so funny. If you watch Unlocked, if you guys have watched Unlocked, there's a guy in there, it's one of the, so there was two guys that I dated back in the day that remind me of people that were in that show, if you've watched Unlocked. So, the one guy that I dated has since passed away. He and his partner passed away a couple years ago from COVID, and it was really sad, but he was a really nice guy. So, the one guy, Randy Randall, reminds me of like an older version of him. And then the other guy that I dated back in the day reminds me of the guy that's name is Crooks in there, that has all the face tats and stuff like that. But the Randy Randall guy, his nickname is True Story, because he always says stuff, and he'll go, True Story. I love that so much. But anyway, no, like, you wake up, and it's like, I could chug, like, 4 glasses of water when I get up, you know? And, you know, drink, like, 2 cups of coffee. I feel like I just need, like, spa day every morning that I wake up anymore. I just feel like this one hair over here always wants to stick out. You know, I just feel like I'm struggle busting it. It just kind of happens to you one day, you know? Like, out of the blue. There were a lot of people, I think it's going to rain. There were a lot of people that were walking earlier, and it's really, really windy right now, and there's not as many people walking as there were, so, I don't know. Can you guys believe it's the 27th of April? I have vlogged every single day this month so far. I do not think that I am going to film any other videos. We're just going to have to play it by ear. Tomorrow is the book club, and, Mel, I checked in with Mel yesterday, and I was like, we're good to go. She was like, yeah. She had some stuff going on. I was like, if you need to cancel it, just, you know, let me know. She was like, well, we'll see. Let's see how tomorrow goes. So, but as of right now, the book club is good to go tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So if that's the case, I won't get done until 5, which depending on, or 5 or 5:30, it depends on how long it goes. We haven't done it for a while. If I get off of there and I'm really, really tired, I may skip the vlog tomorrow. But I'm wanting to vlog, like, I'm trying to vlog every day this month to get back into kind of like, I used to do that. I mean, every day, I vlogged every day for years, you know? So I'm trying to kind of get back into the habit of that, but we'll see. I don't know that I'm going to film a bunch of other videos today or tomorrow, especially since Alex is going to be, I mean, by the time that I get done with this vlog, and I go inside and I start rendering it, and, already made the bed for him for when he comes home, and all that kind of stuff. Had to turn the air conditioning on last night, but he'll be home by then, and I'm like, I just want to kind of spend some time with Alex, excuse me, tonight. So yeah, but anyway, so last night, watched Joyride. Oh, this is what I was going to say about the movie. It's interesting watching some of these movies back. So now we've watched Night of the Comet, Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael. Last week was Wait Until Dark with Audrey Hepburn. And then this week is Joyride and Jackie Brown. And I haven't watched Jackie Brown yet, so I've only just watched Joyride. It's interesting watching these movies that I haven't watched in a long time. Like Night of the Comet, I don't know what I said at the time when I like reviewed these movies on that channel, but like I'm just gonna tell you how I feel about it now. Like Night of the Comet, I remembered pretty well, but there were parts that I didn't remember. I remember more that it's like this research place, scientific research place, had like a bigger part in the movie than it did. And so I actually kind of enjoyed the movie more than I remembered enjoying it in the past. Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael, I remembered the concept for that movie, but I think that was like really all I remembered about that movie. What I didn't remember about the movie was the theme song that they play through the whole movie by Melissa Etheridge that they begin and end the movie with, that Don't Look at Me song, which really, like, it brought it back for me, and I really loved Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael. Wait Until Dark, I loved. A couple people commented on my video, and they were like, this wasn't a thriller like I thought it would be a thriller. Well, thrillers back in the day weren't. Like, if you go and you watch, like, Arsenic and Old Lace, which was one of my mom and I's favorite movies, the Alfred Hitchcock movies, you know, what else would we watch back in the day? The movies that I loved. I'm trying to think of, like, the old ones that she really liked. Like, Charade, what was the other one with Audrey Hepburn? And, The Thief. What was that one? To Catch a Thief. If you guys watch those movies, was Catch a Thief maybe that was a Hitchcock movie. But if you go back and you watch those movies, like, they were like slow burn thrillers. They weren't like thrillers that have these, woo, you know, like these moments. Like, I can remember the buildup of The Man Who Knew Too Much with Doris Day, and the song they sang through the whole thing, which is like the song that she sang to her son. It's about a kidnapping. And so she sang the song to her son through the, you know, when he was growing up. When I grow up, and da-da-da, que sera, sera. That song is throughout the whole movie. When you, at the end, the way that movie is, that song is played into it is so fantastic. But like even Rear Window, like when I watch Rear Window today, like I love Rear Window. But I don't know that if I watched it for the first time today, that it would give me the thrill that it gave me when I was a little kid with all of our, you know, guest bedroom windows open, watching it with my mom when I, you know, like, and I thought it was like this thing that I had never heard of before. You know what I mean? Like, it was thrilling back then, and we didn't have the same kind of thrills we have today, you know? It's like, so, yeah, I mean, Wait Until Dark is not, like, this great thriller like some of the thrillers that we have today. It just isn't. And I will say, like, watching it, like, it didn't hit as hard for me. But the other thing about Wait Until Dark is that it's also a drama. I mean, like, she was, like, nominated for Best Actress. It was nominated for a lot of awards. And she was fantastic in it, and the little girl was fantastic in it, and the other people were Richard Crenna was fantastic in it, the other people were fantastic in it, and, like, even as I say that, I'm like, I don't even know one thing about Richard Crenna, and I'm like, is he problematic? Can I say that on video? So if he is, I don't know. I'm not endorsing, I don't even think he's around anymore, but anyway. But yeah, like, it didn't hit the same way that it did. Like, I had a lot of memories of it, like, because, oh, my mom and I watched this with her friend Diane that came to visit, and I remember that. But, like, past that, it wasn't like, oh, I would want to watch it 5 more times in my life. There's only a few movies that I really, really feel that way about. Like, but a lot of these movies I'm watching because a couple years ago, I started making this list. So the movies that are all on Tubi, so I'm trying to find movies that are there so that most people can watch them. And if they're not on Tubi, they're on other streaming platforms. And I mean, because people are like, well, I don't have Tubi and it's not in my country. And I'm like, because I tried to pick one place where, like, anybody could watch it, right? And people are like, well, I can't watch it because they don't have Tubi in the UK, you know, right now. And I'm like, I understand that it's coming. But, like, when you go and you Google search these movies, like, it'll tell you, like, they're usually on 3 other streaming apps, like Amazon, and not for pay either. Like Amazon and Peacock or Paramount or whatever, or Netflix even. And I mean, in today's time, at least most people have at least one streaming app, you know, or a lot of them are on YouTube as well. You can find, like, for free on YouTube, or you might have to buy it for $1.99, but $1.99 for a rental today is like nothing. You know, I mean, these are old movies. So, so anyway, I watched that, and I just was like, it was good. It was fun to watch it because I remembered my mom, but it wasn't like, it didn't have the thrill that it gave me, like, when I first watched it, you know? So, like, when I was watching Joyride last night, I had that kind of in my head. To be honest with you, I did not remember that movie. Like, if you said to me before yesterday, have you seen the movie Joyride? I'd be like, oh yeah, because I love Steve Zahn. I think Steve Zahn, like, I looked it up last night. He's like 56. I thought he was like maybe a year or two younger than me. I didn't realize he was older than me. I think Steve Zahn is so sexy. I've loved him in everything he's ever done. He was like in Reality Bites back in the day, and he's just in White Lotus, I think season 1. And I love him so much. And, and he's been in a bunch of things that I have loved through the years. There's just something about him. Well, I went in and I looked. He actually is married to the daughter of the guy. Her name is Robin Peterman. And her dad started that catalog back in the day, J. Peterman. Do you guys remember that? I love that catalog. My dad used to get that tall, skinny catalog. He's married to her, and they got married in 1994. This is why I knew that there was a reason why I loved him. I didn't know any of this about him. If I've looked it up in the past, I don't remember if I've mentioned it on here. But anyway, they got married in 1994. I probably have. I feel like I have. Like, I looked it up while I was vlogging one time. But if I did, I didn't remember. They got married in 1994, which is when I got sober, which means they've been married for 29 years. They lived on a farm in, like, Lexington, Kentucky, which is where the University of Kentucky is. And then they also have, like, or they still live there, and they have, like, and he goes to, like, University of Kentucky, like, games, because he, like, is a big fan of University of Kentucky. And then, like, they have a lake house in Minnesota. They are so Midwestern, like, people in Indiana. I mean, this is, like, people in Indiana that I know that will have, like, a condo, but then they have, like, a farm, like, out in the middle. I mean, I know people like this. They have, like, a lake house in Minnesota or Michigan. Like, that's very common for the Midwest. And so, when I was reading this, I was like, oh my God, now I know that there's a reason why I like him so much. But anyway, I didn't look up Leila Sobieski. I feel like I'm pronouncing her name wrong, but she was in something else too. Was she in that movie with Drew Barrymore called Never Been Kissed? I feel like she was. I want to see where she's at today. Leila, here she is. Oh God, she still looks fantastic. She's 40 years old. Why did I feel like I thought she was older than that? Because I thought she was the same age as them. Oh my God, she looks fantastic. What is she in these days? Oh my God, the first thing that shows up is she was in Joyride, The Glass House, Deep Impact. Oh, she was in Never Been Kissed. She was in Eyes Wide Shut. That was one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh my God, Josh Hartnett. Do you remember him? She was in some show called Here on Earth with Josh Hartnett. What happened to Leila Sobieski? Let's see. She stepped away from Hollywood. Now 40, Sobieski goes by her married name, Leila Kimmel, and works as a professional artist at her Upper East Side studio in New York. The former actress had been painting for years, but her art finally debuted publicly in 2018. Oh, I love that about her. She just stepped away and said, I'm going to be an artist now. Okay. I love that. I don't know why, but I love that so much. How old was Paul Walker when he passed away? Isn't that so sad that he passed away? Paul Walker. Where's his Wikipedia? He was 40 years old when he passed away. And he passed away in 2013. God, has it been 10 years? So he would be 50? Paul Walker would be 50? I loved him in that movie, Blue, what was it called? With Jessica Alba. That was like one of my favorite movies back in the day. Oh, I forgot he was in that movie, She's All That. Where's that movie called? Blue. Why is this not pulling up, this movie? Was that not Paul Walker? That was in that. Why did I feel like it was Paul Walker that was in that movie with Jessica Alba? I know he was in that movie. Into the Blue. Yeah, I didn't even pull that up on all his movies. I loved that movie so much. But anyway, so I watched that last night. It was good. It was a lot more thrilling than I remember it being, if you want to know the truth. And I'll tell you what I didn't know is that there's a Joyride 2 and a Joyride 3, and it's hinted that a Joyride 4 is coming out. And Rusty Nail, the truck driver, is still out killing people. But I have to tell you, I did not remember, like, I remember certain parts of the movie. Like, it's weird what I remember. Like, I remembered Steve Zahn, the brother, telling him to tell him that he was, like, it was a joke. And, like, going off on him, and that's, like, what made him mad. Because, like, I remember the part where he was, like, apologize, and he wouldn't apologize. I didn't remember the part of, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I didn't remember how it ended at all. Like, I mean, the ending, the last 20 minutes are super, super tense. It is a good thriller. But I didn't remember how it ended at all. I remembered something about cornfields, but I didn't remember what happened in the cornfields, and there were cornfields. There was a lot of parts about it that I didn't remember. It's a really great movie. I mean, I watched it and was really into it. I'm usually, like, when I'm watching stuff, I kind of like I'm on my phone or whatever. I try not to be, but I get bored. Especially with The Walking Dead, because it is so slow. And so, Fear the Walking Dead was not slow like that. Walking Dead, I feel like there's like 30-minute conversations between two people standing in a room, and I'm like, this is completely unnecessary. Like, people are not watching for all this, okay? So yeah, so I watched it last night. It was good. I think, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, well, you'll have to wait for my rating next week. I didn't get real spooked or anything like that. But I will tell you what was funny is I had the door open, the screen door open. Like, it was so funny because Boo Radley kept on going up to it and, like, putting his nose up against it. So I had the back patio door open with the screen, closed. And so the air was coming in. And it wasn't getting any cooler in our house. It was, like, so stagnant just, like, outside last night. It wasn't, like, super windy like it is today. And so finally I had to turn on the air conditioning because I was like, oh my god, it is, like, so hot in this house. It was like 71 and it wasn't, like, going down, and I had it set to, like, 68, and I had, like, the air on, and it wasn't, like, getting any cooler. And I had I think I just had did I have the heat turned down to 68? Well, that would have made sense. And then I just opened the door, but it wasn't getting any cooler in the house. I was like, oh, I'm burning up. Well, I had a hoodie on last night. And so I finally turned the air conditioning on, but I had this, like, window open. It was so nice. The whole house smelled so nice last night, so fresh. I had candles burnt. I'm going through those candles. I don't think those Goose Creek candles, has anybody ever, like, some people out there that buy Goose Creek, do Goose Creek candles burn a lot faster than Bath & Body Works candles? Or am I just burning them more often? Because I feel like I'm going through a Goose Creek candle in, like, 4 or 5 days. Because I light, when I'm sitting in that chair, there's a little wood table, like, next to me before you go into the kitchen. There's a candle in there that I light. And then I light 2 candles in the kitchen. Sometimes I light one by the coffee maker so I can see when I'm, like, doing stuff over there. But those are usually, like, when Alex is here and he's asleep. Because if not, like, it lights up the whole upstairs, right? Those are the shows that I watch. It was so nice. I was going to come outside last night and watch some shows. I was like, I love sitting in this chair. Like, I'm so comfortable just sitting in this chair. So I watched Joyride, and then I watched 13, 14, 15, and part of 16, Walking Dead. But I got real bored in it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like the show is, like, real predictable. And there's a, like, it's interesting because, so The Walking Dead came out before Fear the Walking Dead. And it's interesting because they have a lot of crossover characters. Like, Morgan was in The Walking Dead, but he's also in Fear the Walking Dead. He's a huge character in Fear the Walking Dead. Daryl was one of the saviors for Negan in The Walking Dead, and he's also in Fear the Walking Dead, and so is his wife, Sherry. And there's, like, a lot of crossover characters from The Walking Dead to Fear the Walking Dead, which is interesting because The Walking Dead took place in Virginia, I think, outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and, like, Virginia and stuff like that. Whereas Fear the Walking Dead started in LA, okay? And then went down the coast and then they went into Mexico, and then they came back up, I think, into Galveston, Texas, or something like that. So it's interesting to me that when you think about this in real time, because when you watch the show, I feel like it's going to stop here in a second, I can't really see, but when you watch the show, I think when I started watching Fear the Walking Dead, well, I started watching it, I think, right when it came out, which would have been whatever season of The Walking Dead. But when Fear the Walking Dead starts, camera stopped. When Fear the Walking Dead starts, so it's about Madison, and she's a school principal in LA. And she's married, and she's got 2 kids, Nick and Alicia, and then her husband has a son, and he's divorced. It's like the second marriage. And so it's about them, like, you know, all being, like, on the run from these zombies. Well, when it starts, Fear the Walking Dead shows the actual outbreak. It shows, like, how the zombie apocalypse started on the West Coast in Los Angeles. When I went in and I read about, like, the timeline of how it all goes and how you're supposed to watch it, because I don't know if you guys know this, and I'm not watching it this way, but people have written down, like, how you're supposed to watch it. That you're supposed to, like, if you've never watched The Walking Dead before, I don't know that this would make any sense to me to watch it this way, but apparently there's like all these, like, short movies out there on YouTube and other things that they've put out there. I'm not aware of this. That makes sense to the whole thing. So, like, if you watch it, you're supposed to watch it, like, The Walking Dead season 1 through 3 or something like that, and then, like, or Fear the Walking Dead season 1. I don't know, like, there's this whole order of how you're supposed to watch it, but then it'll say, like, Fear the Walking Dead season 3 episodes 2 through 6, and then the next thing you're supposed to watch is, like, some short movie they put out, and then you're supposed to go back. It's like in the timeline, okay? Like, you know how people get so weird about the timelines? It's like when I ask people, like, which Star Wars movies to watch, and they're like, well, do you mean, like, and I'm like, I don't know, just tell me what order. I've never watched them before, just tell me what order you want me to watch them in. It's kind of like that kind of thing. And so, it's interesting watching it because, okay, so Fear the Walking Dead actually starts while Rick is in a coma before The Walking Dead even starts. It's like when he goes into the coma, like they have the shootout, and then he ends up in the coma in the hospital. And when he's in the coma is when Fear the Walking Dead starts. Chronologically, is what they say. But anyway, so Fear the Walking Dead, there's a lot of crossover people. And in fact, like, Morgan talks about going back to the kingdom and things like that. And in Fear the Walking Dead, Daryl and Sherry, Daryl is talking about, like, going back to, what's it called? The place where the Saviors live. Not Hilltop. Sanctuary. Talking about going back to the Sanctuary and things like that. It's interesting when you, like, hear them talk about it, because I wasn't up that far, which is why I wish I had watched. I think if you're going to watch them, this is what I would suggest. I would watch The Walking Dead all the way through. Then I would watch Fear the Walking Dead all the way through. And then I would watch the spin-off series. I watched The Walking Dead, or Fear the Walking Dead first, because I just had already, like, been getting into it and was loving it. It's a lot more fast-paced than The Walking Dead. I don't know if it's, like, I don't know where season 7 is with filming of Fear the Walking Dead, but, like, Fear the Walking Dead was, like, fast-paced. It was, like, fast-paced. The other thing is Fear the Walking Dead references stuff that happens in The Walking Dead that if you haven't watched The Walking Dead, you don't know what they're talking about. And I think there's other characters from The Walking Dead that are there, too. But what's interesting about it is that, like, they're on the East Coast in The Walking Dead, and Fear the Walking Dead is on the West Coast, and how they get there, like, I mean, anytime they try to, like, drive anywhere, like in a van or whatever, like, it's not an open road. Like, roads are closed, they're constantly running into people just within a 20-mile radius. So how they got from one side of the country to the other is beyond me. I think Morgan walked the whole way, you know? I mean, they explained it, you know, but still. So, yeah, but I mean, I will say this, I'm enjoying The Walking Dead more now that I'm watching, like, more episodes a night. Like, I'm, like, because, like, now that I'm in that binge mode, I'm into it. So tonight I'm going to finish. I have a feeling Alex will be exhausted when he gets home and he'll just want to sleep all night long, which will be totally fine. But we have Delicate, American Horror Story to finish, and we also have, Loot I think those are our only 2 shows left for the week. I hardly have any shows. Yeah, okay, so we got Loot, An American Horror Story, and then The Walking Dead. My only shows that I'm watching now are Vanderpump Rules, which I watch with Alex. The Valley, he's not watching it. He doesn't want to. Survivor, The Amazing Race, he doesn't watch those. I watch those. Loot, we watch together. Vanderpump Villa, we watch together. American Horror Story, we watch together, but this was the last week. Baby Reindeer, I finished. I can take that off my list. I'm trying to put on here, like, the show that I'm trying to pick one show a week to binge, besides The Walking Dead. And then when I finish The Walking Dead, I plan to watch, like, the spin-off series, like Daryl Dixon and The Ones Who Love and things like that. So, yeah. It's fun to binge watch something and get so into a series. I was watching it last night. I got kind of sad. I was like, when I'm done with, like, The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, which are, like, the main ones, like, I'm gonna be kind of sad that they're over. Like, I was sad when Fear the Walking Dead was over. I was so in it to win it, you know? And, it was kind of like, this is gonna sound corny, but, like, how I felt when I watched Vanderpump Rules. And, you know, I watched Vanderpump Rules and I binged it all the way through the first 10 seasons, and I was so into it, and I have to say, like, loved them going into SUR, which they don't ever, I mean, none of them work for SUR anymore, right? Because they're all rich and famous as reality stars. So, like, they don't work, they don't go into SUR, you know, if they work, it's like they're starting their own business or putting out a song or something like that. And so I binge watched 10 seasons of Vanderpump Rules and loved it and felt like they were family. And then the season that I ended on was the season where at the very end, Scandival happens, and Tom Sandoval cheats on Ariana, and then it just splits the group. And then season 11, which is what they're on right now, that Alex and I are watching together, is so bad. The whole thing is all about Scandival, which we already know how it all spins out. We already know Ariana just bought a house, and, you know, we already know all that. And so it's like, I was talking to Tanya about this the other day, and Alex, that I feel like reality TV today is kind of ruined compared to, which is funny because this is kind of some of the stuff that I cover on my TV channel, or I did. But, like, to some degree, like, there's certain things that, like, I think that I want to know, but, like, some things that I read, like, they were putting out stuff about the Real Housewives Salt Lake City Real Housewives Salt Lake City, the women go to, I think, Cabo. And then they're coming back, and they're like, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is almost wrapped for the season. And I'm like, we haven't even started yet. Like, I don't want to know about, like, they're putting out all this stuff about, like, Mary Crosby, which Alex is so over. He's like, I don't even know if I want to watch it if she's on there. He's like, she's so offensive to people. And he's like, I don't know why they let her get away with it, because they think it's funny humor. But, like, if anybody else said the things that she said, they would be off the show. Which I will say I 100% agree. She apparently called Lisa Barlow's son a really offensive name. And Mary Cosby, well, she gives no shits and will not apologize for it. Is it Crosby or Cosby? Mary Crosby. And so, she's apparently on it. I mean, I think she makes for, like, funny TV, but she can be very offensive, which is even interesting because she's a pastor of a church as well, right? But I don't know if she's a friend this season or if she's full on got her snowflake as Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. But they're talking about how she made this offensive statement about Lisa Barlow's son. They're talking about, like, who's going here, who's fighting with here, who unfollowed this person. And I'm like, we haven't even seen episode 1 of it. Like, I mean, if it was, like, in the middle of the season. And it's interesting because it's, like, ETV that's putting this stuff out. Like, if we were in the middle of the season, okay, that would, like, hype up the season. But it's like, to know all this stuff before it even happens, that's what ruined, in all honesty, season 11 of Vanderpump Rules. Because everything you're watching on TV, we saw happen on social media in real time. Like, social media has, and all the podcasts they have, I mean, every one of these reality stars either has a podcast or they're constantly going on podcasts and doing interviews. And so, they're asking about things that haven't even aired on the show yet. And so, in real time, we're living it, and then people are, like, watching the show, and they're like, well, that was produced this way, or that was produced that way, or edited that way, and it's just, like, I don't know, it's almost not enjoyable to watch it anymore, which is why, like, Tanya and I were talking the other day about, like, this hat never sits straight anymore. It's always, like, that, or, anyway, Tanya and I were talking about, like, Amazing Race and Survivor and how much fun it is to watch it, because you're not constantly like hearing online like all the drama about Survivor and Amazing Race and all this kind of stuff. Like, you're just getting to enjoy the show, you know? And I totally do agree with that. Like, it kind of makes it like a little bit unfun to watch it. I don't know. And now like all the Bravo shows are having like major recastings. I mean, but they don't really ever explain why. Like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, you have to, like, dig to find out why. Like, I just saw Below Deck Mediterranean is coming back, like, June 6th or something like that, which I'm real excited about that. But it's, like, Aisha from a previous season and somebody else from a season that I haven't even watched yet, and they're the only two returning people, and everybody else is new. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you get into, I mean, part of, like, what I love about watching these people is the repeat seasons. You know, like, Toomey, I loved on Below Deck. I was ready for her to come back another season. And Captain Sandy even said, I would love for you to come back, and they're in Mykonos, Greece this year, which is going to be, like, a really fun season, I think. And so, and I like I like that Aisha girl, but it's going to be interesting to see, you know, like, I don't know, and it's like Potomac, which I don't watch, like they've recasted that whole show. Miami is apparently going through recastings. I just saw today that Gertie's not coming back, which Gertie's a huge part of the show. And I think Nicole said she's not coming back to Miami. And Alexia, it's like up in arms if she's coming back because she's going through a divorce. So that leaves like Julia, Adriana, Marisol is a friend, Kiki is a friend, Lisa Hochstein, I'm sure she'll be on there. I mean, I love Lisa Hochstein, but let's just be real for it. I mean, she needs the money, she does. So, she'll be on the show. And I feel bad for Lisa Hochstein and everything that she's going through. I'm not dogging her by saying that, but those housewives make good money per episode. Orange County is completely revamped. I feel like they're doing this whole revamping, and it's like, it started with New York. You know, kind of like when they say the old saying, it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I feel like they should have listened to that a little bit. I feel like some of these shows aren't getting as good of ratings, and some of these shows are getting great ratings. But, like, I like the new cast of New York, but that's not going to work for every franchise. It just isn't. Like, oh, Atlanta, they're completely recasting Atlanta. And, like, this is a good example, okay? Like, Atlanta hasn't even wrapped filming yet. I think they just started filming. And they're already talking about how, like, okay, Portia Williams is back on it. And they're showing pictures of Sheree Whitfield, who we don't even know if she's back on the show yet or not, right? That she's out with Portia Williams' husband, who she's going through a divorce with. And it makes it look like they're on a date. But we don't even know if that's, like, true. I don't know. Like, this kind of stuff back in the day of watching The Housewives, like, you'd hear a little bit of it here and there, but you'd read, like, National Enquirer or See It on Us magazine. Like, it wasn't this rampant on social media, even when we had social media. Now it's, like, everywhere, you know? And they lead stories, and they try to, like, put stories out there and stuff like that. So it's just not as fun to watch as much anymore. It really isn't, this reality TV stuff. Unless you're just not going to pay attention to those articles at all, and I can't do that, so... I thought it said 3:54. I was like, is it 3:54 already? Oh my god. But it's not. It says 3:04. So yeah, so last night I watched Joyride. Then I watched 13, 14, and 15. And I think I'm like 20 minutes into 16. And then I was like, I'm going to save this for tomorrow. I'm going to go to bed. So went to bed with little Boo Radley. Took him out. Then I went to bed. And then got up today, made the bed, cleaned up around the house a little bit. I mean, it wasn't really that. It's so funny because I miss Alex for a night, but it's kind of nice just to, like, you know, like last night, like I had like the lights on in the living room, and I didn't have to wear my AirPods, you know, while I was watching I still watch my iPad, which is so funny, isn't it? Like, I tell people that all the time. Like, I love watching shows on my iPad versus real TV. Like, when Alex and I watch TV, like, it's fine, but, like, I love just, like, because I have my reading glasses on, and I just sit there and I watch my iPad. I feel like I can pay closer attention to it. I don't know. Caroline said she watches all of her shows on her iPad, too. But I missed Alex when I went to bed last night. I mean, it was 12 hours, you know? I'm not Larsa Pippen on The Real Housewives of Miami. I can be without my man for a couple days. This guy, like, looked very serious walking down the street. I feel like I've seen him before, but he had, like, 2 leg things. He had, like, hiking boots on. And then he had on, like, this leg strap thing. But he was very fit, though. Probably my age, but very fit. And then, he was carrying like a walking stick, but it was like a professional walking stick. And then he had on like these like big like Oakley sunglasses that looked like they were like for the desert, and he had one of those like desert hats on. He was like walking like this with a stick. I was like, you're a rather professional walker. I'm gonna walk today if it doesn't pour down rain. Listen to my audiobook. Not gonna listen to music. I've been listening to music when I walk, which is fun. I like it. And I get real into the rhythm when I walk and stuff like that, and I love it. But I need to listen to my book because I need to finish this Simone St. James book. I am probably I don't even want to look. I haven't looked in a while. I'm probably like 14 books behind on my reading challenge. Let's see. Did I guess right? Oh my god, I'm 15 books behind on my reading schedule. Will I be able to keep up? Who knows? I have read 17 out of 100 books this year. I mean, which is, it doesn't sound great, but like last year, I think I only read like 28 books. How many books did I read? I read 28. So I'm 10 away from my goal last year. 2022, I read 14. That was the year that I was really struggling with reading. And I think the year before that, I read 101. 110 books out of 102. And then the year before that was 100. And then 40. So if I could beat 110, I would beat my highest goal of reading. I could do that. I feel like this summer is going to be like a big reading summer for me. I don't know why. Isn't it funny, like, in years before, that would have been so daunting to me. I would have been like, I'm 15 books behind, I'm never going to catch up. I'm like, there's no saying I'm not going to catch up. I actually am like really into the graphic novels right now. I just bought like 4, some of them are supposed to come today, and some of them are supposed to come on Monday. So I did order some stuff on Amazon. Well, it's the end of the month, and so I'm like, okay, like I've got a little bit of spending money that I'm not going to carry over into my savings. And so last night I bought some coffee. I bought like 4 things of coffee. I looked up the Kauai coffee, and they do have a macadamia coffee. It's like their medium roast, which we're not going to get into the roast, so I don't know that. But they have like a medium roast that's macadamia coffee, but then they have a vanilla macadamia nut coffee, and so I bought that one. That's coming. And then I bought a Jamaican coffee. It's just called like Jamaican Blend. It's some Cameron's Jamaican Blend. But it's the same K-Pods that have like the they call that something, that hanging basket thing. They call that something where it's not the plastic. I like those. And I feel like they make a stronger cup of coffee. I don't know about the roast, but I feel like they make a stronger cup of coffee. The battery just went to the halfway mark, and we're at 46 minutes. I always forget to take, I know I say this all the time, but I always forget to take the bad battery and like, you know, like take it to Best Buy or whatever and get rid of it. Which I think this week Caroline and I are going to go look at computers because I need to get a new iMac. My iMac is so slow right now. I just really don't want to spend the money on it. I'm waiting as long as I possibly can. Oh, there's my neighbor across the street. There's her friend that's the master gardener. She's the one that helped with this. Every time when she walks by, she always like looks at her garden, and she like, as she's walking, she like looks at everything that's going on over there. She's real sweet. It is getting so windy and the sky is getting dark. I have a feeling it's gonna, I was like worried this was gonna blow over for a second. Did you guys hear that? I love a blustery spring day. If we have, are we supposed to have rain later? Let's see. I ordered like, well, I'm probably showing them in a haul, right? Does it say rain on here? Today's high temperature will be a little bit warmer than sun. It doesn't look like there's supposed to be rain. High pollen levels will impact outdoor activities for the rest of the day. Outsmart storms with the premium feature. Oh, it has like your activities listed now. It's like running, it's good for running. Hiking is good. Golf is good. It tells you like all your things out here. Allergies, overall index high. Let's read what it says about allergies. Oh my God, high. Tree pollen levels expected to decrease over the next couple days. Tree pollen is really, this is like, it shows it right here. Tree pollen is really high. Grass pollen, not so high. It's like yellow and green. Ragweed, that's the fall. So it's the tree pollen that's really high. Wow. Today's primary contributor is tree. This is I'm like living for this new weather thing. Pollen levels expected to decrease over the next few days. This is the decrease. Do you know what's so funny reading this? I don't know why this is the first thing I thought about, but my friend Scotty, my ex's friend that passed away a couple years ago, he was obsessed with like the Weather Channel and anything to do with the weather. Do you guys remember, like, I know this is gonna sound like a stupid question, but I don't like go through cable channels very often. Is there still like a legit like Weather Channel? Like I call this the Weather Channel because it says the Weather Channel on the app. But is there like a legit like still like a Weather Channel? Like you can watch? Okay. He would watch it for like storm coverage. He like loved to stay up, and when like a storm was hitting the coast or something. Is this my husband? I know it's the mail. Oh, I forgot my reading glasses came. When I took Boo out, my reading glasses were in my mailbox, but I left them out there. I forgot to bring them in. Or did I bring them in? No, I think the box is still out there. She's just sitting there. Our mail guy that usually delivers our mail, he'd have knee surgery, and so he's out for 6 weeks. And he's so nice, and like everybody in the neighborhood like sent him cards and stuff like that. Isn't that so sweet? But anyway, Scotty loved the Weather Channel, and oh my god, it has like skin health on here. And he had like his favorite like weathercasters, that some guy that he thought was like hot, that was like 60 and was always out in these storms and stuff like that. He loved that so much. Okay, skin health. UV index moderate. Oh, I get it. Okay, cold and flu, overall risk is low. Breathing, overall index, very good. This is interesting how they're doing this now. How far out does it go? This week? Oh, it goes all the way out to the 11th? Hey, that's interesting. Oh, well, I guess it is today. Today's the 27th. Is it the 27th already? Oh my gosh. I guess I said that earlier. So anyway, what was I talking about? I don't know. Was I talking about my allergies or something like that? Rain, temperature. I don't know what I was talking about. They have big dogs, big black labs. It's a good day to sit on the front porch and just like read a book. I might, oh, that's what I was saying, talking about graphic novels. I might get my graphic novel, That Check Please. So I ordered the next one in Check Please, the second book. I think it's called Check Please too. It's called something. And then by the same author that I read that princess graphic novel, I got another one that's called like The Princess and the Grilled Cheese or something like that. And then I got two more. So I search on Amazon like best graphic novels, and it pulls up like the best ones right now. But a lot of them are like Marvel Comics, DC Comics, like The Watchmen, things like that. A lot of them are like Archie comics from like back in the day. A lot of them are like comics. Like I'm not really, and I know that there's like not really a big difference, but like I'm not into like the superhero stuff. I actually think I have a couple of them. Oh, I was telling my neighbor, I have like the Game of Thrones, like the hardback book inside. I have a couple of them. I have like A Wrinkle in Time, To Kill a Mockingbird. I've never really read most of them. The Anne of Green Gables. I should try some of those this year. They're back in the bookshelf because I had them collected from underneath the TV, and then I was going to take them downstairs, but I have a section where I'm keeping all my graphic novels, except for the Heartstopper books and the Unlovable ones by Esther Pearl Watson, because I love those so much. Those are my like favorite. Those and the Linda Berry books are my favorite. So the Linda Berry books are down below, and the Esther Pearl Watson ones, Unlovable, which is 3, they're up there. You can still order them online. I found them, like you have to pay a lot of money for them, but I think I paid a lot of money. I think I got the first one at like a half-price books, and the other two I had to buy online, and I think I had to pay a lot of money for them, but they're like collectors. There's like a box set that you can buy. They're beautifully done. They're like this. They're like square. They're really cool. It's about this girl, her name was Tammy, and she like was kind of like a loser in the 80s, and it's about her like wanting to find love and fall in love and stuff like that. They're so good. I love them so much. So Yeah, I might reread those. I don't know. And the Linda Berry books, especially like the Marlis and May Bond ones, those are the sisters. May Bond is older and Marlis is her little sister. They kind of remind me of those too a little bit. But anyway, I'm like real into the graphic novel things. And the graphic novels don't take a long time to read. Like if I sit down and I just like read them straight through. But the thing is, I'll pick it up and I'll read a little bit here and I'll read it a little bit there. And so I'm reading like one chapter a night of like Check Please. So of course it's going to take me a month to get through. But if I sat out here and I just like read for like an hour, I would probably finish the whole thing. Maybe I'll do that this afternoon. I don't know why it doesn't show any rain on the forecast when I'm like looking up and it is like so gray right now and cloudy. And then as soon as I say that, the sun just came out, and then the sun went away. The sun just came out, and then the sun went away. See, that's me writing a song. Little Boo Radley, don't be so sadly. So Alex will come home tonight, and then now that he went to the sprinkle, that they went to the sprinkle afterwards on their way home, I'm sure that he will be exhausted and just want to rest for the rest of the night, which will be fine, because then I will watch The Walking Dead, and I'll watch probably Jackie Brown tonight. If I don't, I'll probably watch Jackie Brown tomorrow. And then on Monday, Bradley is having a haircut. We thought that it was at like 1 o'clock, but it's at like earlier in the day. So that'll be earlier in the day, and so Alex will probably be home at work from early. He'll probably be home from work early on Monday. Yeah, so what do I have this week? Did we schedule therapy for this week? Yes. We're talking, because he was like talking about going. Somebody commented on my video that I did about, I don't know if it was on this channel, if it was on my other channel, but I don't know which channel it was, and I'm not trying to disagree with you, but they were saying that when a therapist tells you that they think you should go to every other week or once a month or whatever, it's really not that you're making progress. That's your place to tell them that you're making progress, and when you want to slow down, that's just because they can't fit you in because of their schedule. Okay, I call absolute bullshit on that, I just want to say. And the reason I'm saying this is because that has never been my experience, period, end of story. And I've actually referred my therapist to several people, and he gets them in within like 2 days. His schedule, I mean, he makes the schedule open for anybody. And like when we were going to like every other week to then once a month with couples counseling, he said, if you guys want to get in next week, call me and then I'll get you within 24 hours. So that's not true whatsoever. And I actually think a really good therapist is somebody that will say to you, why do I feel like I hear rain hitting the ground? It's somebody that will say to you, I don't think you need to come in as often. Like, maybe you need to just come in every other week. If you want to keep on coming in every week to just, you know, have this be a sounding board or whatever, we can do that. But I don't think you need that right now. That's actually a good therapist, right? Like, that's a therapist that's working with you and your progress. And so I just want to kind of normalize that. Every therapist that I have ever gone to, first of all, if that's the case, for somebody, I mean, I've seen him now for several years, two years, and our therapist before that we had seen for several years did the exact same thing. Any therapist, like, if that were really about a money-making thing, then you would think that they would say to you, well, why don't you come in? I mean, he could say to me right now, I actually think in the middle of this trauma narrative, it would be better if you were coming in twice a week. If he said that to me, I would book 2 sessions a week. He knows that about me. He knows I'm willing to do whatever he tells me to do as far as, like, therapeutically, like, what I need. So he could say, we need to see each other every day of the week. That would be $500 that he would make off of me in 5 days, right? Like, so I don't, like, are you kidding me? Like, why would somebody not say that, you know? I mean, the haters don't even believe that I have a therapist or attorneys or anybody, you know? Okay. But, so, you know, like, I think that attitude lends to, like, negative thinking that therapists do their job just to be, like, money makers, which I'm not saying that there aren't therapists out there that do that. I have never ran into that. That hasn't been my experience. I think maybe when I was in high school and I was, like, or junior high and I was forced to go to people, I thought that way. But, like, in my adult life, that has not been my experience. I will just say that to you. And so, Yeah, but he did say to me, he said, you know, like, do you want to go every other week? Like, you're doing real well, except for we're in the middle of this trauma narrative. And I said, what do you think? And he said, it's up to you. And I said, well, I really want to get the trauma narrative done. He goes, well, let's just do every week until we get the trauma narrative done. Because we thought we were going to get it done this week, but we got stuck on the question about the future. And then so we booked for next week. Listen, I like going every week to therapy. It's a way for me to vent and get stuff off my chest. He gives me solutions I wouldn't have thought about. You know, it is starting to rain. And there's no rain on the forecast. That just proves to you how well the Weather Channel knows what they're talking about. But it's kind of pretty. It's kind of like just a little bit light. And then it's real breezy and windy. And anyway, if it worked until, like, you know, when I get up, like, I have kind of a schedule of things I do. I know it probably seems like, because I just show this and that, whatever, that people don't, I think it probably seems like when I just get on here, I go, well, I filmed some videos today and watched some TV shows, and that's like what my day looks like. That's not what my day looks like. I have recovery commitments that I make phone calls about every single day that I have the camera stop. Tia's gonna love this. Look, Tia's gonna love that I went over an hour, but the battery's gonna stop in a second, so I have to go get another battery if I'm gonna continue, which I might as well, since Alex isn't home. This is the only video I'm gonna film today. But, like, I have recovery commitments every single day. I have other things that I follow through with. And then on top of that, like, doing this and doing that, whatever, of personal things that I don't really ever talk about online, you know, and stuff like that. And then on top of that, trying to make videos, and so, like, I know that it seems like I'm just kind of like, oh, I might, like, film a few videos today, and then, I don't even know where I was going with this. I have completely just, like, what was I talking about before this to, like, wrangle me back around? What was I talking about before this? Now I totally have, like, just lost my, I was, like, watching this guy run down the street, and I was thinking to myself, like, in my head went, you need to be running down the street. And I totally just, like, lost my train of thought. I was talking about how I'm not lazy. Oh, therapy. This is what I was saying. So, like, so when I say, like, I'm pretty busy right now, I know that to a lot of people out there that just, like, watch my vlog, they're like, you literally, like, filmed. I have a lot more going on in my day. It's just, like, you know, whatever. There's a lot of things I don't share out of protection for people that I interact with, obviously, right? And so, but I would love to have therapy, like, twice a week. It's also expensive, you know? Like, I mean, that's expensive, you know, twice a week. And then when we have marriage counseling as well. And so, which we don't have every week, but it can be expensive. But I like seeing him, you know? I always, like, the trauma narrative was tough the other day. But, like, when I got done, I was still, like, in my head. But then, like, later that night, it was, like, this huge exhale moment. Like, I was, like, I really felt like you worked through some really tough shit today. Like, you worked through some really, really tough stuff. He challenged me. He asked the tough questions. He, like, took me places I did not want to go in my head, and made it feel safe to go there for me, which is really, really important, because I feel like our sessions are safe places for me. I don't know if that makes sense. If you've been in therapy, maybe that'll make sense. And this is why I think it's so important to go to a therapist that you have a good rapport to. You know, people will say to me, well, I don't like my therapist. I'm like, find another therapist. Go to somebody until you can build that rapport and you feel that safe with them. Because, like, I feel so safe in that relationship that he can ask me the challenging questions, the tough questions, and take me into directions that maybe I don't want to talk about those things because they're uncomfortable, or, like, I don't like to go there in my head. And then I'll go there, and then we'll talk about it in a way that feels safe to me, and I work through that stuff. And so later that night, I felt like, it's like when I share stuff in meetings, you know, and maybe at the moment I'm, like, you know, crying or upset or whatever, but then, like, I walk out of the meeting, I'm like, I feel so much better than I did before I shared this, you know? And that's what therapy does for me. It's like a cleansing of my mind and my soul and stuff like that, and I love it. He's a sounding board, you know? He just gives me one other opinion. It's not that he's always right or always, you know, the answer or anything like that. He never acts like that, you know? He's very humble, and, you know, and I can tell that he really, really cares about me, and he cares about us, and he's just a really nice guy, you know? And really knows his shit, so I don't know, I'm grateful for that. But I wanted to kind of, like, just say that, because I think that attitude of, like, therapists do this or therapists do that just to make a lot of money. That has not been my experience in my adult life with therapists. And I don't know if I've just been blessed to have really professional therapists that really cared about me as a client. I don't know what that's about, right? But like, I've never experienced that where it's just like a gravy train for them, where they're just keeping me on for money. And I'm like, the whole idea of, well, they're trying to move you down so they can get new clients. For what? Like, I would stay with him for the next 20 years and see him 2 to 3 times a week. He'd only make more money off of me. So that attitude is interesting to me when people say that. And I honestly think it's like somebody that's had a bad experience with a therapist. But don't generalize every therapist or counselor under that way, you know? Like, it's like when people go, they're like, I want to try a 12-step meeting or, you know, whatever. And I'm like, well, it's not for everybody, but try it. And if you don't like it, you know, we'll happily refund your misery or whatever. And then people go to one meeting and they'll be like, I hated that meeting. Like, there's nothing for me. Well, I'm like, you went to one meeting, okay? Like, you went to, I mean, I've gone to my fair share of meetings that were not good, or somebody said something that pissed me off, or, you know, like, when you, like, meetings are non-denominational, but you will have people from time to time that haven't been around for very long or don't speak the language of recovery that will say things in meetings. Like, you say things like my higher power or who I choose to call God or whatever. Like, it's not stepping on other people's toes of what their spiritual beliefs are, right? You will get people that will say in meetings every once in a while, like, well, Jesus Christ, my Lord told me. And that's kind of like a no-no. Like, you don't do that in recovery meetings. This is going to stop. Hold on a second. The battery is literally going to die, so I'm going to go inside and get another battery. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I said earlier, Tia's gonna love this, because what I meant was that I didn't stop it right before a minute. She actually asked me, she said, well, she commented on the vlog. So, hey, Tia, I'm talking to you right now. Tia said, I mean, she DMs me a lot, too. But I hope you guys realize the banter between me and Tia is all joking, and that I totally adore Tia and all that kind of stuff. Like, she said to me, she messaged me, and she goes, you said in your video that there's nothing I could do that would get me blocked. Well, I don't know, girl. I mean, like, maybe you start acting crazy, but no, not right now. Like, Tia DMs me little stuff all the time, songs, and she tells me about stuff all the time, and there's several of you out there that do that, and, you know, and I don't always get to all my DMs. I just want to make that clear. Like, I don't know why, but I get quite a few DMs in a day. I mean, not like somebody that has like millions of subscribers, but it's hard for me to get to all of them in a day. I do read them all, I will say that. I just don't respond to all of them. So, but anyway, you know, in meetings, sometimes you'll get somebody that will be like, you'll be sitting in a meeting, and once you've been around for a while, you kind of know the language that you use, and it's traditions and things like that, that you, and I just want to make this very, very clear before anybody is offended by what I'm about to say. When you read the basic text in most 12-step programs, they come across as very biblical. It comes across as very biblical, okay, and old-timey. And I would say the majority of the people that I know that are in recovery, I would say like 75% are like Christians that go to church, just to make that clear. So I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody, and people think it's like flaky cult and stuff like that. The majority of people that I know that are sober, like, go to church and are very involved in their churches every week. Like in Indianapolis, there's this huge church here that like a lot of people are involved in. I think it has like 4 churches, and one main church is like this huge warehouse, and a lot of people in recovery go to that church. And then I would say that there's like more people that are kind of just like spiritual people like me, and are searching and have their idea of what that is, and are very spiritual people, but don't necessarily like pertain to any one religiosity or idea, right? And then I think that there are those people out there that just don't believe in anything, right? Like we agnostics, and then or you know, like atheists. But I think it's hard to be an atheist in a 12-step program. It's not impossible, I will say that, and there are like meetings directed towards that. Hey, how are you? I gotta tell you something in just a second. I'll be right back. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm back. Talked to my neighbor for a little bit out there. My neighbor in the corner that we closed the pool down with had some things to tell her. So she has somebody in her life that is dealing with a like real life stalker. And so I referred her to some of the people that I'm working with, and wanted to ask her if they had talked to them. And they had, and things are going well on that front. And then I also wanted to tell her about the book club that she and I are thinking about doing at the pool, because she goes to the pool, and she was telling me about the book that she was reading, and she was like, oh, that sounds like fun, I would love to do that. Then we're talking about this, and we're talking about that, and we were both like, I said, are you ready? It's so funny because I ask them like, well, she's ready for the pool to be open, and I was just talking to her, she's ready for the pool to be open. But when I talk to people about the pool being open, being ready, like some people are like, well, I mean, not yet. It's not like that warm. And Caroline said to me the other day, she goes, I'm telling you, the day the pool opens, we're going there. She goes, I don't care how cold it is, we're going to the pool the day. I know when I call her, she'll be like, I have a dinner appointment tonight, I can't go to the pool. I'll be at the pool the day it opens. I'm going to the pool the day it opens, and I will be there the day it closes this year. Because I'm a pool swimmer, I'm a pool swimmer. I just can't wait to sit, like today would be a good day for this, to just sit on the edge of the pool and put my feet in it with drinking my coffee. I would love that so much. You know what I hope I didn't just do when I started this? I hope I didn't just delete the rest of this vlog. If I did that, if I deleted over an hour of a vlog, I'm gonna be so mad. I don't even know what I was talking about before this. I was talking about 12-step meetings and church and different people, and I mean, obviously those estimates I was giving were not like they weren't like factual researched evidence or anything like that. I'm just saying based on people that I know, you know. And then there's people that are other religions as well, obviously. Oh, but this is what I was going to say about that story that I was saying, that, you know, like you'll hear somebody like come into a meeting. This happens, I will be honest with you, very, very rarely. But somebody will come into a meeting and then they'll be like in their share, they'll say something like, well, Jesus Christ, our Lord, said, blah, 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 that, you know, in Corinthians 1:15, what, you don't do that. Like, you don't do that. We're a non-denominational program, right? And you don't do that at all. And so, what I was taught in early recovery was, oh, I was like, it's not my husband, but it's the white Jeep. And so, she has a white Jeep down there, just like Alex, well, it's a Rubicon, Alex's is one. But anyway, I was taught in early recovery, when somebody says something in a meeting that doesn't go along with like the language that we use or how we speak, that you come up to them afterwards and you go, hey, I just want to let you know, like, we don't speak about like religion and things like that in here. We're like, you know, non-denominational. We say things like the God of my understanding. I mean, you could sit in a meeting and say, I believe, like, my God of my understanding is Jesus, and this is what it means to me. You could say that. I mean, that's completely your share. I mean, first of all, you could say anything you want to say. Nobody's going to probably tell you no, right? I mean, there's been a couple times that I've seen in meetings where people are like, okay, too much. Like, when people will say, you know, some kind of stuff in there. But that's what I was taught. Like, when somebody says something that's like, I'm trying to think of another example. Like, if somebody were to say in a meeting, like, let's just say, I can't even remember the last time I've ever seen this happen, but it, like, maybe I've seen it once or twice. If somebody will say, like, say somebody's name or something like that, like, that would be like, okay, we're not, like, when you see on TV shows, like, somebody running the group and them saying, okay, Peter, would you like to speak now? That's not a 12-step meeting. That's group therapy. I don't know why they show that as a 12-step meeting, but a 12-step meeting is self-governed and self-run, like, and self-paid for. Like, there's somebody that is chosen to be the chairperson or volunteers for it. It's not like a presidential role. You don't elect that person. There's no, like, government. It's, like, representatives, right? And so, like, even the chairperson of the meeting, they're usually the chairperson for a month or a week or a year, and then there's like a secretary. Nobody like runs the meeting, and then like you split up into groups. Like in like my home group, we split up into 4 different groups, and then, well, 3 groups in the beginners group, and then everybody will look at each other and be like, well, who wants to chair this group? And then somebody will volunteer and say, like, I'll chair this group, and then that person chairs, like, and I'll say, like, I'm Peter, and, you know, I'll chair this, you know, group. Does anybody have a topic? And that's how you bring it up. And then that person brings up the topic, and then you'll say, does anybody want to start? And if nobody starts, you just say, okay, do you want to start? And then you go in a circle. That's typically how it goes. Hey, how are you? That's typically how it goes. It's like whenever I watch these shows where it's like, okay, do you want to go next? Like, that's like group therapy. I mean, I've been to meetings where like they'll pass a ball and if you have a ball, like, then they'll pass it to somebody else and you can speak, like, only if you have the ball. I've been to meetings where they do different kind of stuff like that, but typically it goes, like, you don't ever have to share in a meeting if you don't want to. You can just always pass and say, I don't want to share, I pass. You don't even have to say I pass. You say I don't want to share anything. You know, you don't have to say anything in a meeting. But I've seen people, like, when they'll say, like somebody will say something really religious, like, afterwards, I've seen, and it's typically newcomers because they don't know how to handle that, and that language can be kind of offensive to them. They'll be like, I'm never coming back to this meeting again. This is a religious meeting. And I'm like, I've never heard that person share that before. I've never seen that person before. This is not a religious meeting. And typically what you're supposed to do is go up to that person and say, hey, listen, we don't use language like that in here because that can be offensive to some people that have, like, histories with religion or believe differently than you do, you know, whatever. And you know, I've witnessed that. I've had to have conversations with people like that about language that we use in meetings, not just about religiosity, but about a lot of different things, right? Certain language that you use, you don't use offensive language. I've witnessed that. I've had those conversations with people, and people are always 100% open to it, you know? So, I don't know why I was saying that, but I think I was using that as an example because I just think that people's different experiences or whatever. I don't even know why I use that as an example. How did I even get into that? I don't know. It was good seeing my neighbor. It's actually, like, warm. What did it say it was? Like 70 something? It feels like warm. It feels like, if I had to guess, I don't even remember what the weather said. Hold on a second. I'm not going to guess because I don't look like an idiot because I just called it on here a while ago. It, like, rained for, like, 2 seconds and then it stopped. What is this? It just, like, sits on the Weather Channel forever. Why is the Weather Channel having such issues today? Come on, Weather Channel. I mean, what is going on here? Okay, I guess we're not going to have the Weather Channel today. Is it going to open? I just closed it out and opened it again. This is what... Oh, there, you hit it. It's 679. I was going to say, it feels like, I was going to say almost 80 because I couldn't remember what the temperature was. It's funny that it shows, like, this mountain range when that's not what the mountain range is in Indianapolis at all. And that's not what it looks like in Indianapolis at all. Let's read a couple comments and see what people had to say. By the way, people are telling me that they're being unsubscribed to this channel. So, I've heard that for years. On my other channels, people are constantly like, oh my god, I've subscribed to your channel 3 times in the last week. It won't let me stay subscribed to you. Or I looked and I wasn't subscribed to you, which is why I'm missing your videos. People tell me that all the time. I stopped trying to deal with it, like, years ago. Just check and make sure that you're still subscribed to my channel. Okay, let's read some of the comments on here. I'm like, aw, Elizabeth said, I love hearing about your mom. I love talking about my mom. You know, it's interesting how grief works. It's like, for me, and I think grief is different for every person. I think by the time that I made it onto the vlog, like that first year or two, like I really talked a lot about my, is this Alex? No, it's a plane. Can you tell I'm, like, excited to see him? The first time, when I first got on my vlog, like that first year or two, I talked a lot about my mom, and I cried a lot about my mom, you know? And it was really cathartic for me. And I think, like, outside of, like, in meetings and with, like, friends and Alex and stuff, like, I really hadn't grieved appropriately and talked about my mom. And I think the vlog, my first year or two, really provided me that safe space to be able to share those stories and reminisce about her in a way that, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like when I was talking to you guys about it, that you, like, knew her, that you wanted to know of her, and so sharing those stories was like reliving those stories and those feelings. And I can remember saying, like I really struggled with a while, like, after my aunt and uncle passed, like, who knows my history. Like, that was a period that I really struggled a lot. That was a big part of my grieving, right? That, like, I smelled like somebody, like, smoking a cigarette. Well, somebody's walking down the street smoking a cigarette, I can smell it. And I was like, I really felt that way, like, there's not really anybody that knows my history, that knows my past, you know, and, or certain parts of it. I mean, Caroline wasn't there for all of it, and neither was my dad, in all honesty, you know, I mean, like, the times I was with my mom, my dad wasn't there, you know, so, that was hard. And then today, I think there was just a point where I just was like, Caroline and I had a conversation about her missing her mom, and I thought to myself, like, my mom has been gone for a really, really long time. Oh, there he is, smoking a cigarette. How did I smell that coming that far away? And, and I was like, I thought to myself, I mean, this was probably a year or two ago, and maybe longer, I don't know. I thought to myself, I remember talking about it on here. Like, my mom's been gone for a really, really long time, you know? And it wasn't even at that point that I was, like, thinking about her every day or crying about her every day. It just was, like, it would still, like, hurt very deep. I think that when you have a world as small as mine and you have a few people in it, if you're an only child, I think also it hits different. You know, like, I know friends of mine that are only children that were raised by grandparents, and, like, they're extremely, like, I mean, when their grandparents passed away, like, they were just, like, they couldn't even, you know, like, move on and whatever for years and years and years. I don't know why, like, you know, I don't have siblings, and so it's like my family, like, my whole growing up, it's kind of, like, gone in one moment. This person that I knew all my life, my mom and I were very, very close. It was hard, you know? But I think it kind of came to the point, and it happened really naturally, where I just was like, one, my mom would not want me to continue to just live every single day, just, like, pining away for her memory and wishing she was here. She wouldn't want that for me. I know my mom well enough. When people say, like, you shouldn't speak for your mom, my mom used to say these things to me. She would say to me, like, I hope that you miss me for a while, but no, I want you to go live your life like I had a life, right? Like, my dad said that to me. He said, your mom would not want you to be this upset, you know, like, she would want you to live a life, like, she had a great life as well. My mom and I have those conversations. I think that's why it's important to have those conversations with your partner, your kid, and things like that. I mean, Alex and I have had conversations about, like, if something would happen to one of us, what we would want the other one to do. I told him, I said, yes, of course I would want you to be sad and miss me for a while, you know? Go meet somebody else. Be happy. Live your life, you know? Get married again if you want to. Be single and date 100 people. I don't care, you know? And he's like, well, like, you know, like, would it be weird for you if, like, you know, like, if I dated somebody and they came and moved in here? I'm like, I'm gone. Like, no, it's not going to affect me. Enjoy the house. Make it your own, you know? Like, I don't plan to be going anywhere anytime soon. But Alex and I have had those conversations, you know, of what he would want me to do. And, you know, I've said to him, like, I think if we broke up or if something happened to you, I don't think I would ever date anybody again. And I don't. I really, to be honest with you, I enjoy my alone time. I think the energy and the time and quality that you have to put into getting to know somebody, their family, their friends, and things like that, like, it's a lot. I don't know that I have that in me for another relationship. This is almost kind of making me cry a little bit because, like, I don't ever want to have to imagine going through that. My husband and I have worked so hard on our marriage that I hope that it's to the very bitter end, you know? Or not to the bitter end of the marriage, but to, you know, whatever. And I think it will be, you know, but he knows that, and he said to me, he goes, you're somebody that loves to be in love and loves relationships, like, that makes me sad, like, I wouldn't want you to go on. And I said, but I can be somebody that loves that also wouldn't, and I love being alone, like, and I don't want to, I don't know that I could recreate another life or start another life with somebody else. It's just, there's a lot of time and energy, you know? I mean, we're talking about, you know, it's interesting to me when people, like, make comments about this or make comments about that, like, oh, Alex is rolling his eyes, or, you know, this marriage is going to end any day, which these people say this stuff, right? And it's like, my husband and I have been together for 15 years. That's longer than the career that I had working in treatment. That's longer than elementary, junior high, and high school. And that's longer than many marriages or relationships out there. 15 years we've been together. We've been married for 12 and a half years. Been together 15 and a half years. This is a long time, you know? Very proud of it. Not just for the time, but for the work that we've done in there. And I think, like, that's the most ridiculous thing for me, is that, like, when people are like, oh, they're going to break up any moment. I'm like, first of all, do you think I wouldn't get on camera and say that if that were the case, if things were that bad? Like, seriously? Oh, Alex, you know, went out of town for the night. That means they're breaking up. Probably somebody said that out there. You know, it's just like, I don't know, like, but, you know, I do think about, not all the time, but like we've had those conversations, like if something would happen to us or whatever, what we would want for the other person. And I was like, if I'm not here anymore, I want you to go on and be happy. Alex has kind of made it clear that he doesn't really want to date anybody. He's like, I think I'd just be single for the rest of my life, you know, and just, you know, enjoy my life and whatever. And I'm like, well, I mean, that would be your choice, but, so I think it's important to have those conversations with people. My mom told me, she was like, I don't want you just to like, I want you to live your life. Like, I don't want you just to sit in sadness. And so something naturally happened to me a couple years ago where, like, I still smell her from time to time. I think about her. I hear her voice every once in a while. But like like a memory will come up of something, or I'll hear her laugh or whatever. Like when I was watching Wait Until Dark the other night, I was thinking of like my mom. Like we were all sitting in that room, and her friend Diane was saying stuff to her, and like my mom was laughing. My mom had like a really unique laugh, and I can remember that about her and stuff like that. But I don't think about her like a lot throughout the day like I used to, you know. PP and Tucker have been really, really hard. I think, like, being and interacting with Boo Radley, especially when he gets older, like, on a daily basis, brings it back to PP and Tucker and how hard it was. I remember them a lot as I'm with him, right? So, that's hard sometimes. But the grieving thing is really interesting, you know? Like, how you process it and how you deal with it and all that kind of stuff. And I think, like, when we tell people, like, it's time to move on, and even if we're saying that to somebody because we're trying to help them, I think a better thing to say would be, instead of, like, I think it's time to move on, I don't believe in all that anyway, but I think a better thing would be to say is, how can I help you keep their memory alive for you forever, even if that's on a daily basis, while being able to enjoy your life as best as possible, because I think anybody would want that for you. I think they would. I don't think there's anybody that would say, when I'm gone, I want you to live the most miserable life unless they hate you. Anybody that loves you would say, no, once I'm not here anymore, I want you to live, I mean, I'm not here, so live the best life that you possibly can. I don't think anybody, when people are like, how would you know that? Well, wouldn't you want that for somebody? I mean, I feel like that's kind of a common truth, but it's not, you know, so, but I think, like, you gotta respect people's grief. Like, some people, you know, and people, how they deal with their grief, you know? Some people grieve by getting in other relationships or getting real involved in stuff. Other people grieve by not leaving their house for months or years on end, and other people grieve by packing everything up and moving on right away, or moving through the pain real quick, and other people take it one day at a time, you know, like I did. It's per each person, and there's no recipe for how to grieve, and so it's about respecting other people and their grief process, you know. Cauliflower said, hello, hello, hello. I'm doing a little catching up on vlogs while I do some cleaning. It's the last day to clean the house because then it gets warm and I will be outside with the plants. Love that. Casey said, Easy Street's been stuck in my head too. Oh my God, from The Walking Dead. I was like, why did I ever sing that song in my video the other day? Because it's been stuck in my head ever since then. Judy said, good morning, Peter. Got my Cinnabon coffee and sitting outside. Oh, this morning listening to you. Have a great day. I love that. You have a great day too. Okay. I don't know how to... L. Nickerson said, how is learning the Spanish this year going? I know you and Jesse were wanting to learn. Okay, I haven't really checked in with Jesse that much about it. So here's the thing. If I talk about it online, people are constantly asking me about it. And it's one of the things that the people that don't like me will come for. I know that, right? So I'm keeping it very low-key. But it's going very, very well. The program that I bought is 100 times better than Duolingo. And so, like, I was using Duolingo before, and I don't know that I would suggest Duolingo before, but the Rosetta Stone app, like, I 100% believe in that. And they have sales all the time for programs. The thing about Rosetta Stone is that, like, once you learn one language, so, like, the way that you learn it on Rosetta Stone is that there's, like, the language that, like, when Spanish, right? And it's for, like, Latin American Spanish. And when you're learning it, like, I'm learning it, like, conversationally for family. But then you can learn, like, in the workplace or traveling or whatever. And so then you can learn different things. And once you get done with that, you could go learn French if you wanted to. And you know, like, different kinds of French in different areas and things like that. So Rosetta Stone is very cool how it's set up. And no, this is not a sponsorship, and I paid a lot of money for it. But it's a lifetime membership, and I would highly, highly recommend it. So I'm learning. It's slow for me. I'm not great at languages. And And I'm not talking about it a lot online because then people will be like, oh, well, why don't you talk in Spanish? And what's your Spanish like? And blah, 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 whatever. Because then they'll want to just be like, it's constant gotcha moments, right? It's always about the gotcha moments. But I appreciate you asking about that. A couple people have asked so far. I was kind of actually surprised more people haven't asked about it. I mean, I can tell your comment's nice. I know your comment's nice about this. And I actually haven't talked to Jessie about it. You know what? I should probably, like, I texted her, like, a month ago, and we were both at kind of, like, the same phase of it. And so I should probably, you know, I'm going to text her today and be like, well, whenever I text her about it, I always say it in Spanish, and then she gets a kick out of it. So, but thanks for the question. Nikolai said, can't wait. Yay, can't wait for the 2024 garden tour. Her garden is coming along so beautifully already. I think she's taking a nap. If she wasn't, I would show you guys it already. Oh my god, the allergies today are driving me crazy. Hey. This mom and her two sons, and they're like, the one son is like in his late 20s and the other son's like in his 30s. They like walk like every day on the weekend. I think it's so nice. Nikolai said, I wish the master gardener would do a walkway makeover video with you. Hey, now, listen. She did. She helped me plant my hostas, which are doing fantastic, by the way. This one over here is, like, really growing. I'm really excited to see them by the end of the summer. Listen, y'all want to joke about my walkway. It's going to be no joke, walkway, okay? When the mulch is out here, and the hostas are growing big, and the plants and the flowers are all over the front porch. I'm gonna have so many flowers on this front porch. People are gonna be like dying from it. Nobody's gonna be joking about my walkway. Listen, this is the thing, okay? I love my neighbor and I love her garden to look at. When I said to her, like, oh, maybe this is what you're talking about. When I said to her, this is what I want to do, because like she had mentioned last year moving the hostas, or was it the year before? I don't remember. So this was the year that we did it. So when I asked her about it, I said I want 5 on one side, 5 on the other side. I want them very symmetrical, and then I want really dark mulch, and then I want flowers all over the front porch. And she was like, do you not want to put some flowers in there as well? I said, no, I know, because she plants something here, plants something there. She loves it. It looks like botanical gardens, okay? That's what she's the master gardener at. Like, she loves to put all this kind of stuff in there and whatever, you know? She loves it. Like, I'm going to put this over here, and that's going to be like a little patch of white, and then lavender, and that's what she does. I do not want that, okay, in my walkway. I want it very symmetrical and very clean, so when you walk by, you're like, oh, it's like walkway, flowers. That's what I want, right? She don't like that. She wants me to let her plant a banana tree here and, you know, I don't know, some purple flowers there and a yellow flower. I don't want that. I want it very symmetrical, okay? Alex doesn't want any of it. Alex wants me to tear the whole thing out and put rocks is what he wants. He wants nothing, which is so crazy, people. He's like, as long as it makes you happy. He wants me to pull it all out and just put rocks so that we don't have to take care of it and it's so easy. So he can do that when it's just up to him. Okay, so... But thank you for your comments, Nikolai, about that. Okay, we said, oh my god, the Jimmy Dean sausage biscuits were my favorite snack after school. We always had those. The little ones, you guys remember the little ones? I love those. Gina said, I want to see her azalea flowers. They look like bushes to me. I can't believe that they're azaleas. I don't want to just walk over there unless she's outside. Her husband came out and got the mail earlier, but I don't want to just, like, walk over there. I mean, she said she wouldn't care, but I don't want to just walk over there. Well, she got a bunch of plants yesterday. I think she planted some of them because it looks like she's got some yellow stuff over there. Oh, this is, okay, so Tia said, when I was talking about how I was finishing the vlog yesterday at like 59 minutes and whatever, Tia said, LOL, it did drive me crazy. It's right before an hour, but I forgive you. Why can't you stretch it out to like an extra 15 seconds, though? Okay, I mean, I can. So here's the thing, right? So, like, they're clips. If anybody's ever used iMovie before, you'll know what I'm talking about. So they're clips, video clips, right? They're literally are like boxes on, like, iMovie. And so then it'll be like a 29-minute... and 59-second clip, because that's as far as like it goes on the battery, or not the battery, the memory card or whatever. And then it'll be like a 29 and then 58-second clip, and that's it. So if I add 13 seconds to it, it's a 13-second clip, right? I know this sounds stupid, but I don't like to just add a 13-second clip to the video because I feel like it kind of goes really more to like my drama channel, that I feel like it doesn't adhere to like a, like if at the very end of the drama video, like if it went over and I just was like added 10 seconds to say, okay, you guys, just let me know what you think in the comment section below, and that was just the last part and I clipped it in there. I think that's where it comes from. I can add on a 13, 15-second clip if you want me to. I can do that from now on. Aww. Mel was so excited because she was going to this local yarn place today, and she bought this yarn, and she just sent me a picture about it. Aww, love it. That yarn is so pretty. I think it's hand dyed. So, Tia. From now on, Tia, I will do that. Oh, this is something I wanted to comment on. Okay, so Tia said, Peter's saying, this is like a big topic on my video. Peter's saying cucumbers and vinegar, me thinking you mean a pickle. I do love a good pickle though. And somebody responded, Claire responded and said, I'm pretty sure he was talking about a cucumber salad. It's cucumbers, tossed a bit of vinegar with sugar, salt, and red wine vinegar, and it's tangy, sweet, and delicious. Okay. It sounds kind of good on the right kind of day, but I don't love anything real tangy, if you want to be honest. Okay, like that sweet kind of tangy, I don't love that. Like that relish kind of taste, I don't love that. But I do know what you're talking about, because people do make that here. But that's not what my mom would do, but I'll get to that in a second. But I can understand why you would think that. And then Amanda said it's quite common in the northern U.S. Gina said, yes, he's talking about a cold cucumber salad my grandma made the best. And then somebody said, Ann said, here in the South, we mix water and white vinegar, sliced cucumber, salt, pepper to taste, place in fridge to chill. Yummy. Okay. My mom literally would take a casserole dish, a white casserole dish that had the white thing on the side that you get, like, you know, like send in so many, you get a white casserole dish. She would cut up slices of cucumber. She would put it in the casserole dish with white vinegar, and she would put the cover on it, and that was it. I don't know about the tangy and the sweet. I don't know about the salt and pepper. I don't know about all that. My mom would literally, I watched her do it. She would cut up a cucumber. Sometimes she would put in celery. She would cut up cucumber, and she just would put it in vinegar. That was it. It was not a salad. It was just cucumbers and vinegar. And the cucumbers soak up the vinegar. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was a quick version of doing something else, and that's how she came up with it. But that's what she did. It was not like a salad or anything like that. Now, my mom did make salad. My mom made homemade. Oh, my neighbor came out. There was 2 cars coming down the street because my neighbor just came home in her convertible. It's so cute. She's a VW convertible. It's so cute. My mom did make homemade salad. Caroline was actually telling me that her favorite ever was that her mom made homemade macaroni salad, and that she was going to make it for something coming up. And I was like, she was like, don't you remember my mom's homemade macaroni salad? And I was like, I don't remember your mom making macaroni salad ever. Like, I do not remember that, if my Aunt Kathy did. But I do remember that my mom, not a lot, but a couple times, made homemade potato salad. And one of the times that she made it, this is a long vlog today, isn't it? One of the times that she made it was, this is for you, Tia, for the fact that I haven't watched Damsel yet. But Alex and I are going to watch it together sometime. Okay, but my Caroline and my aunt were out of town for Mother's Day. I think they were in Florida or something. And so my mom and my Uncle Dave and I had a picnic at the art museum. And this was like the first time I remember my mom making it. And then I would ask her to make it afterwards. And she made homemade potato salad. And what I remember about it was that she, like in the potato salad, it had the potato, what do we call that? The rind on there, whatever it is. It had that on there. It was very like home style tasting. And it was chunks of potato salad. And the potatoes weren't like, she did it so it wasn't cooked all the way through. It was still a little bit hard. But then she had like celery in there. And I mean, it was the best potato salad I have ever had in my entire life. I can still see it to this day. And she put it in these cute little jars and stuff like that. And I love that potato salad so much. And so over time, from like time to time, when my mom would say to me like, the camera stopped. From time to time when my mom would ask me like, what's something that you want me to make? I'd be like, do you think that you can make me that potato salad? And so she was like, it's Peter, it's really, really easy. It was like literally like mustard, mayonnaise. My mom was not, she didn't love to cook. So anything that she would make was like always real simple. Like I loved my mom's chili, which she said was made from like a Chilio packet. She's like, I can't believe this is like one of your favorite things. Chicken a la king came from a can. She would later be like, that's your favorite thing I make. It comes from a can. It's like literally biscuits, and you put this stuff on the stove and heat it up and pour it over a can. And then chicken curry was a casserole that my mom made that was like curried chicken. It was like breasted chicken, and then it had like rice, I think, in it, and broccoli, and I loved it. It was my favorite, and she would make it with garlic bread, and I absolutely loved it. That was my favorite meal of hers. And she'd buy little quiches and heat them up and stuff like that. But no, this cucumber salad, I don't know, that's probably where it started from. My grandma, my mom's mom, was a cook. Like, I kind of wonder in retrospect if she didn't, like, that wasn't what she did when she was in prison, was like be a cook. But my mom would say that she cooked like a lot when she was growing up, that she made like full meals. Now, the cucumber salad that you're talking about that has a tangy taste to it, that sounds very much like something that my grandma would have made, my mom's mom. That sounds like she made things like that cucumber salad that you're talking about. I almost kind of wonder if my mom didn't like the taste of that, but like, just was like, we'll just make it real easy and just put vinegar in it. That's kind of how my mom thought a little bit. So that might be the case. But no, it literally was just cucumbers and vinegar. I know it's crazy to think that, isn't it? Linda said, perfect timing, just going through it lately. The insomnia is unreal. Hey, how are you doing? Good. It actually feels hopeless when doctors are like, even like, I'm not sure what else we can do for you. Love you, Peter. Well, first of all, I just want to send, and somebody said, I hear you, insomnia is terrible. Well, first of all, I just want to say, sending lots of love and positivity to you out there. I'm sorry that you're going through a hard time right now. I feel you on the insomnia thing. And, you know, as being a person in recovery, like when I talk to my doctors, like they don't even, like knowing that I'm in recovery, like they don't even bring up options that they would probably bring up with some people, which in all honesty, I'm kind of thankful if they don't. But, like, they don't even bring up, I mean, I know, like, right now, my options are, like, trazodone or doxepin, which is what I'm on right now, and I feel like they both work very similar. I feel like the doxepin works better than the trazodone, but I will say I sleep deeper, and I feel groggy when I wake up on the doxepin. I never felt like that on trazodone, but people said that they feel like that on trazodone, so maybe, I don't know. The doxepin, which is very similar to trazodone, and this is just my experience. I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying this is my experience with it. I just said I have to try something else. Trazodone's not working, and so he put me on this. I think it's in like the same area or whatever. And so anyway, when the one thing about it I will say is neither one of them made me fall asleep. Like trazodone and the doxepin, like I don't get sleepy off of it, which is interesting because when I started the trazodone, I remember he said, when you take it, and it's funny because, like, if Boo Radley has something really serious with the vet, they'll sometimes give it to him, like, in the past, and he gets, like, real sleepy off of it, which is funny because, like, I remember when I started taking it, he said to me, if you take it, like, 20 or 30 minutes before you go to sleep, by the time that you lay down 20 or 30 minutes later, you'll be, like, ready, like, you'll be out. That was not it for me at all. At all. At all. I took it like before bed. I took it like for a long time before bed, drinking the sleepy time tea. You guys know I went through that whole thing with you. I then like, you know, did it like laying down, thought that would help it. That didn't help it. I mean, I did everything I possibly could with that trazodone. With the doxepin, it works a lot better, but it doesn't help me fall asleep. What it does is, when I fall asleep, I stay asleep deeper. Or, if I wake up, because I'll wake up still from, like, dreams and nightmares and stuff, or I'll have to wake up to go to the bathroom. I'll wake up from a dream or nightmare, or I'll wake up and go to the bathroom, and then I come back and I fall asleep real quick. Like, that happens to me throughout the night. The other thing I will say is, on the trazodone, if you guys remember, like, when I started this vlog, could you guys tell how tired I was? Now I feel, like, wide awake. And it's not just from this coffee, because I haven't drank that much of this coffee. But with the trazodone, like, I would lay there for hours, and even when I got sleep, I didn't feel like I got rested sleep. With the doxepin, when I get sleep, I feel like it's taking me so deep that I'm getting, like, deep sleep. I'm getting good sleep on it. And so I feel more rested than I did on the trazodone. The trazodone, I was tired all the time. The trazodone does not work for me. I don't know. The doxepin doesn't help me fall asleep, but, you know, and I'm very much in the same situation as you, Linda, and I feel bad for you that, like, the doctors are like, I really don't know what else to tell you if this doesn't work, you know? I I think that, like, I imagined that I was gonna be, like, given some kind of medicine where, like, and I said this to my doctor, right? Like, I took some kind of medicine where it makes me feel real woozy, and then I fall asleep because I can't stay awake anymore. He goes, yeah, you're talking about a sleeping pill, and those are addictive, and I can't give those to you. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't even think about it that way, right? And, like, he's like, those are things that are easy to become habit forming. And he goes, you know, and I don't know that I would recommend those for long-term use anyway. He goes, those are people that are, like, going through shorter-term stuff and whatever. You know, and, like, the things with, like, Lunesta, which he's never offered to me any of those, like, is it Lunesta? What, those, you know, those sleeping aids like that. There's literally this black bird sitting right at the very edge. Just flew away. What's the other one? There's another one, but they're all, like, very similar to that. Those ones where you fall asleep. I've heard, like, crazy stories about that, you know? But I've also, like, heard other people, and people have commented on my vlogs and said, like, oh, I've taken it for years and it's completely fine. So I just think it has to do with people's organic makeup. You know, like, last night, I still, like, you know, it depends on the day. Really, it just does. You know, it depends on the day, and how I do. Do I think that I could fall asleep? Alex just texted me. He's on his way home. Do I think I could fall asleep without the medicine? I think I could. I think that if I walked for a very long period every day, and, I think if I completely went off caffeine, completely 100%, I don't really think the caffeine affects my sleep that much. But I think if I were willing to, like, let's say for, like, 2 weeks, right? Like, not take a nap, walk for, like, an hour and a half every day, force myself to get up at, like, 7 o'clock in the morning, force myself to go to sleep at, like, 9 o'clock at night, not take a nap, not drink any caffeine. Do I think that eventually I would start falling asleep more regularly and, what do you call it, and, regulate my sleep? Yeah, I think I would. That is not a happy schedule for Peter. I just want to make that very, very clear. When I complain about having problems sleeping, I'm fully aware that that's not the life I want to live. I don't want to live going to bed at 9 o'clock at night. I don't want to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? I like taking naps. I enjoy it for laying down next to my husband or just taking a nap. Like, I enjoy that. So I'm fully aware, and as much as I complain, I'm really just sharing my story with what I go through online, but, like, I'm fully aware. Like, when I talk to my doctors, like, I'm fully aware, and, like, people will say, oh, well, Peter, I thought you said that the caffeine didn't affect it, or, Peter, I thought you said your naps didn't affect it. What I'm saying is, on any given night, if I drink a cup of coffee, like, it doesn't, or if I don't, it doesn't seem to affect my ability to fall asleep or not fall asleep, like, in the grand scheme of things. My taking a nap or not taking a nap doesn't seem to affect, like, I can take a nap and fall asleep real easily. I can take a nap and not fall asleep real easily. But what I'm saying is, if I changed everything and I reset my entire schedule, do I think over time that it would probably set my schedule in place and I was going to bed every night at 9 and getting up at 7? Yes, I don't want that life. I like to stay up late one night, go to bed early the next night. I like to take a nap one night, not the next. I like to drink a cup of coffee at 3 o'clock in the morning and sometimes not. You know, I don't want to live my life that way. And so when I talk to my doctors, I'm very aware of that. You know, like, I want to make that very, very clear. That's not me saying that stuff doesn't affect my sleep like I've said in the past, because I want people to be like, oh, he's contradicting himself. No. There are nights that I can literally drink coffee, caffeine, up to the point that I go to bed and I've taken a nap and I fall asleep that quick. There are other times that I can have no caffeine at all and I haven't taken a nap and I can't sleep to save my life. There are other nights that I can drink a cup of coffee and have taken a nap, or have a cup of coffee and haven't. And there's no rhyme or reason to it, is what I'm saying, right? But do I believe if I changed everything over the course of, like, a month or two that it would? Yes, I do think it probably would affect it. But I don't want that kind of life. That's not. I want to be able to go to sleep when I want to go to sleep. You know, if that's 10 o'clock one night and 6 a.m. the next, and that's what it is. You know, so cheers. And you know what? In all honesty, that's part of what goes along with the not sleeping. I'm fully aware of that, right? So, by the way, there's steak up there. It says, hold on a second, it's the Corinthians thing, faith, hope, and love. That's what it says on it. It says faith, hope, and love. And it says it down on each side, which is why I thought it went around. I don't know why, but it says faith, hope, and love on there. And the strongest of those is love. My mom read that at Caroline's wedding. I love it. It's one of my favorite things in the Bible. I love that Corinthians part. Is it faith, hope, and love, or do they have something else? But I know that the part says, and love is the greatest of them all, or something like that. They're taking pictures of their... And now he's got... Well, she was out there taking pictures. Oh, they're pruning the bush. They're pruning this bush. And they were taking pictures and stuff of it. You might not want to cut too much. There might not be anything left. I don't think they heard me. They were like going to town on this bush, and their hostas are so small. I'm going to give her such a hard time. Oh no, she heard me. She's shaking her head laughing. Everybody in my neighborhood loves those hokas. They're like obsessed with the hokas. Now they've all switched. Everybody have like, and he's the one in the corner that I like learned from those hokas about. Oh, here's my two walking people. Hey, how are you? There's two women that walk their dogs. But everybody used to wear the hokas, like the real wide ones, and those were the ones that I bought. And like they now have like the running shoe hokas. So maybe I should buy the running shoe hokas. I was really surprised when we went to Florida, and when we went, was it Florida or just Mexico? Like there are so many young people, like at the music festival, there were so many young people that were wearing hokas. I don't know, why do I associate the hokas? Oh my God, I know, that's what I watched last night. Have you ever heard of this brand? I gotta share this with you guys before I get off this vlog. I started watching this documentary that this is earlier in the night while I was eating, before I like laid down last night for a little bit, and then I couldn't really fall asleep, so I just like got up. Oh, no. This was before I was gonna take my nap, and then all these people started calling me, which is why I didn't end up taking my nap. But I was in the middle of this documentary. I don't even know that I'm gonna finish it, to be honest with you. But it was called Brandy Hellville, and it's about this brand called Brandy Melville. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Lola Rue documentary, but not as much. Have you guys heard of this brand? And it was interesting because in there at the beginning, this reporter from the Insider, she says, I mean, it was a well-done documentary. It's on HBO Max, and it's called Brandy Hellville or whatever, but the brand is called Brandy Melville. It very much looks like kind of like an Urban Outfitters meets like Abercrombie and Fitch, but all for girls. And so apparently it's this brand, and their claim to fame is like one size fits all. And but it's all these like very petite girls with their hair blowing in the wind, and they did this whole thing where it's like they would like take your picture if you came in the store or on the street, and they would like post on their Instagram. So it's like they got this huge following, and then everybody wanted to work at these stores. And it was interesting because at the beginning of it, like 5 or 10 minutes in, this girl said the biggest store for girls age like 9 or 10 to like 15 or to 17 or 13 to 17 or something in the United States is a brand that most adults have never heard of. And I'm like, I have never heard of this store before in my entire life. Like, I was blown away. And then it's like, they paint this whole picture of it. It's like this very like bohemian, like Selena Gomez had worn these clothes, and like Taylor Swift, I think, had worn some of their stuff. And so they would post their pictures on the Instagram. They got like real famous off of social media. And what was interesting was that Brandy Melville was like a collaboration name of like Vera Bradley, those purses. Y'all know that's not Vera Bradley. There's not a Vera Bradley, right? Like those are from made in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I know the woman because my ex used to cut her hair. That started Vera Bradley. It's two people. It's two women that started Vera Bradley, and they were friends. And so the one that's the CEO of it now, my ex used to cut her hair. So, but anyway, there's not like a Vera Bradley. Well, there's not like a Brandy Melville. And it's two people's names that had something to do with it or something at the beginning. I don't really know. But what's so weird about it was that all these girls thought there was like a Brandy Melville. I mean, this isn't like really even a part of the show. The part of the show talks about like racism within the organization and all this kind of stuff. But I'm only like a third or half of the way through. It's an interesting documentary because I've never heard of this brand. In fact, I looked it up because I was like, is this like a made-up brand? Like, did they make this up for the show? Because I've never heard of this brand before, right? Like this Brandy Melville brand. So I'm like looking it up, and it's legit. Like, I mean, they still have tons of followers on Instagram. They don't follow one person. Oh, this is the interesting thing though. Since the documentary came out, I believe they did this. They've like, or maybe they always did it, I don't know, but like you cannot leave a comment on any of their pictures. Like their comments are turned off on all their pictures. So I don't know if they just did that or whatever. But what's interesting is that like these girls would take these pictures and they'd say, I hope Brandy notices me, I hope Brandy this and whatever. And it's run by this guy that's like this Italian guy that is behind the scenes, and they're like painting this picture towards these like young girls that are like their hair blowing in the wind. It's very California bohemian kind of look, and every girl wants their jewelry and their t-shirts and all like shorts and dresses and all this kind of stuff, and nobody has a clue that it's like this guy behind the scenes that's running it that doesn't even speak English really, and is basically making it in this small factory town in Italy. The whole show is so bizarre. I've never heard of this brand before though. I'm like, I know when I say this, people be like, oh my god, because they literally show these girls are like, like everybody in high school, you were not cool if you didn't have Brandy Melville. I'm like, how have I never heard of this brand before? But I guess it was just geared towards high school girls, so of course I wouldn't have heard of it, I guess. But that couple that just walked down the street, they were like total hippies. Like this guy had like, I mean, they're like 75. This guy had like long white hair, and he had like a Bjorn Borg thing, and then she had like long white hair, and she was walking these like Pilates pants, and they were total hippies. I've never seen them in this neighborhood before, but I'll just tell you right now, if we got some 70-year-old hippies that just moved, because two new people moved into this neighborhood this winter, and if we got some 70-year-old hippies that moved in this neighborhood, I am going to live for that. I will love that so much. So yeah, if you're looking for, I don't know that I would necessarily call it true crime, but it's on the Max, and it's called, oh, Mel just texted me an emoji. It's called Brandy Melville or something like that. So now they're standing back and they're observing their work. Like, you better not cut them hostas. Those hostas are like this. I'll give you guys a little tour of the hostas. Anyway, all right, not today, but sometime. They won't care. They'll think it's hilarious. All right, my hostas that I planted this year are transferred over are bigger than their hostas this year. It's a hosta competition in this neighborhood. You might not want to cut too much of that. It might be gone.
I know, it's going crazy.
Your hostas are so big.
I know.
She said, I know. Anyway, oh, she said it's going crazy. Oh, the bush is what they're cutting this other bush. It's like closer to the thing. He told me the other day, he was like, I just kind of want to keep it like low down and stuff like that. I love them so much. He and Alex have like such similar senses of humor, and they like stand in the street. Like, you would never think my husband's like this person that's like, so he's becoming very neighborly. My husband is becoming very neighborly. I'm so proud of him. But he and the neighbor, like the woman in the corner that I close the pool with, her husband, like he and Alex have like the same sense of humor, and they just sit out here and like crack jokes about stuff all the time. Plus, he likes like clothes and cologne and stuff. Like, he's the one that got me on the Louis Vuitton Meteor, so he and Alex talk about that stuff all the time. He's a really nice guy. I love them as a couple. I love all my neighbors. My neighbors are so wonderful. All right, well, I'm gonna get off here now. I can't believe I vlogged this long, almost 2 hours. Can you guys believe it? I hope that you are having a magically amazing Saturday, and a fantastic weekend. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And remember these 3 very important things. I think I hear my husband's car down the street. Maybe not. 1, you can start your day over, or your week or your weekend if you need to, whenever you need to or want to. Just start it over. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but don't tell anyone. And 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. Like I always say, you might be putting a smile on their face. You might be changing their day for the better. You might be making them happier, and you might be making them feel not so all alone. So just do it. Also, be kinder to one another. Love one another a little bit more. And most importantly, be kinder to yourself and love yourself a little bit more, because be kinder to yourself and love yourself a little more, because if you're kinder to yourself, then you'll be kinder to others, and if you love yourself more, then you will love others more as well. And for anybody out there that's going through a tough time right now, I'm sending you love. I'm sending you positivity. If you believe in prayers, I'm sending prayers as well. I love you guys so much. You have helped me so much get through tough times. Let me help you get through some tough times too. Let us all help each other, be there for each other. I love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Oh, and for those that just happened to stick around, needed to hear us, for anybody out there, one more I love, one more I love you. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Happy birthday. I almost said Linda. Happy birthday, Lena.